What's going on, friends and family? Wow, this is an awesome day. Friday has come around and here we are again, live at 5, Old Goat's Corner. So a lot of this week has been chaotic for many of us, and especially for me and trying to kind of figure out the way ahead for a lot of the things that I'm going to be doing, especially here at the camp, and just trying to understand the direction of where all my state's going to go with coronavirus and all that stuff. But while we're on that subject, I'm going to go ahead and quit my fan because it provides a lot of feedback to you guys. So, hopefully, it's a good Friday for you. Unfortunately, my topic isn't as lighthearted as this Friday, but I just wanted to bring a quick mention to what we've got going on here. It is today we're going to be talking about living with disappointment, a veteran's story. So I have a different perspective than a lot of people, but actually, I've had a lot of good things happen, and I don't want to kind of overshadow that with disappointment, but disappointment is something that we all live with, and I think that in the end that it's something that either helps us to grow or it drives us down the wrong path and makes it very, very difficult for us to survive, especially in an environment where we're at right now, because people will let you down, states will let you down. There's a lot of different situations right now where people are struggling and they're very disappointed at the government. They're disappointed at their position in life. They're disappointed in a lot of different situations. For a family, it's kind of hard to negotiate and navigate through these waters right now. And especially, for a family that is a veteran family, because they already had a difficulty in transition, especially into the civilian life, but they also have had a difficulty in transitioning from the government, because the government makes it kind of simple in many ways to have some structure and stability. And then when you have a chaotic government like what's kind of going on right now, and there's no unity, it really makes it challenging. But before we get too much further, I want to go ahead and bring your guys' attention to something super cool, and that is the Warrior News. The Warrior News is something that comes out in your email, and I just want you to see how awesome this is. So if you're not checking your email for the Warrior News, you're missing out. You're really missing out. And I personally look forward to our team sending it out because it capstones a lot of different events that happen throughout the week. Especially like if you click on the link for our Facebook group, you can see where we've got a lot of things right in there. You click right on that, it'll take you to the Facebook group, and then you have quite a bit of other information here that's going to help navigate the week, especially like for physical wellness. And I know Brent, he works really hard behind the scenes. He probably won't take credit for this, but this guy is really kicking it when it comes to putting out the newsletter, because Sean is the mastermind, but Brent, he's really, really, he's in tune to what we're putting out there. So I have to give it to Sean and to Brent because you guys are masters at this. I couldn't do this. I couldn't at all. But as you go down through it in your email, you'll see a couple things, and I'm going to scroll down a little fast here because you see some of the photos. These are the ones from Fridays. You can kind of see where I'm going with it. Here is what I really want to bring to your attention. Veteran Spotlight. So each week, we're going to try to make sure that we capture someone from our alumni and do a spotlight so that you can kind of get to know them and get to know where they're at in their life, and then also have some encouragement through their success or things that they found were very difficult. Yes, Sean, thank you very much. Brent is a rock star, but you are too, buddy. Wait, there's more. Let me finish this. I got to bring this up for Sean. So all of this great information going in here for the Veteran Spotlight is super, super cool. And I'm going to keep on scrolling down here. It'll take me a second. We've got, some basics of community. And I know Brent is really into the 5K for food, but I want to drag it now right here. This is what I really want to focus in on. If you're not clicking on the mixtape, you're really missing out. And the reason why I say that is because the mixtape is your all access link to some great hits. And it's all put together by our alumni. So we have right here, I'm going to click on this right now. This is the mixtape. It takes us right into YouTube. So not only can you see the videos, but you can also listen to the awesomeness that's in here. So Sean, thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you for making it so easy for us, because you can go through and find all kinds of different versions of your flavor of music. And that's important, because music, for me, music, it heats my soul, man. It heats my soul. So, thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go ahead and click on over to my cool guy self here on the screen. And I'm back. So, one of the things that I've really been digging into this week is this book right here. It's kind of hard to see with my lighting. Well-being. So we've got well-being right here. And Jen, thanks for chiming in there with accessing positive memories. Yes. This book right here has guided me through some difficulties, and thank you, Jen, for putting this into my hands. I'm going to show you the back of it right here so you can kind of see what we got going on. Career well-being, social well-being, financial well-being, physical well-being, community well-being. Right here. If you don't have it, that's fine. It really capstones on the Strength Finders 2.0. Tom Rath and then Jim Harder is really, really good at helping us define what makes us strong. And so I encourage you, if you don't have that, you can follow along with it. It's not too difficult to read. So I personally suck at reading. I am not a good reader. I don't retain it because I'm not someone who enjoys reading, but I'm a visual learner, and I like to get my hands in and try something that will be effective. And so when you take something that has practical application in life, I can dig into that book. And that book has done really well in showing kind of where I'm going and what we're doing. So moving into our topic for today, living with disappointment. If you're watching right now, and I know it's kind of early, Eastern Standard Time is kind of capturing at 5 p.m. It's kind of capturing the afternoon for a lot of people, and we'll probably change the hours of how this goes as we go forward, because I wanted to capture people at a point where they actually could be able to watch and share if they needed to and bring somebody in. And I don't want to go more than 15, 20 minutes on these sessions, but as we go forward, we could probably go a little bit longer. And I would like to have some sessions where we have people Skyping in and more or less have a little bit of guided discussion and have it as a host show. So my point right here with this is living with disappointment in my life has been up and down. Again, like I said in the beginning, in the Navy, this is my sea story. I had a lot of success, but I also had a lot of disappointment. In the beginning of my career in the Navy, I started out thinking that I was going to go one place, and I ended up in another. I went to basic training, did all that, became a hospital corpsman, and then right after that, I went to field medical technician training, and I wound up in a place where I was with the Marines, and I was learning that kill, kill, kill mentality, and I felt really comfortable in that environment. And then right after that, I had orders to go to the hospital in Naval Hospital Portsmouth. And as soon as I got there, this is the first level and first time I was ever so disappointed in the Navy, is I got there and it had nothing to do with being like a super cool sailor or Marines like they had been pumping me up to do. And it took me a long time to adjust to being in a hospital, especially significantly run by civilians. And it took a long time to adjust. So that was a disappointment first for me in the Navy. And I'm going to try to keep this centered around the events in the Navy, because I think it's important when you look at your career well-being and your social well-being and the community that we have right now, especially because this is a private group and it's going to be something that we share amongst each other is that you find yourself with people that are going to lift you up, and there's people that are going to bring you down. And I wanted to list with disappointment. You can take that disappointment and you can move forward and you can be better. And so what I did is throughout my career, I tried to take every level where I hit disappointment and I put myself in a place where it was, let me overcome this. My top 5, and I'll read them off. I have them right over here. Competition, communication, activator, empathy, and achiever. So I have kind of this crazy mix of things going on, and it's very challenging inside. I have a very deep desire to succeed. And if I'm not succeeding, I'm not happy. So I would like to go into the C story, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. When I was a chief and I was getting ready to go to Afghanistan, I found myself in a training environment out in California in 29 Palms, Mojave Viper. And we have some alumni that have gone through the path that actually served with me, and I don't know if they realize who I am, but I'm sure that at some point they will. I was that crusty chief that they probably didn't get along with because I was always trying to take care of my sailors and make sure my corpsmen were getting what they needed and not becoming a Marine because I had to as a chief, because I wanted to be out there shooting guns and blowing stuff up too. But, you know, it's different. I was out there on that training mission, and I had my corpsmen coming in and out of the field. And one night we came out of the field early, and it just so happened that one of my corpsmen, their family lived in California and lived close to 29 Palms, and the wife wanted to come and see her husband, and they were having a lot of trouble. And so I didn't really have an issue with it, and I was in and out of the field. I was driving the Humvee, the ambulance, 997 and a 1035. And so what I did was I would go in and out every night. And this particular night, the physician's assistant, which was the second officer that we had in the battalion that was a naval officer, he was there in the rear kind of taking care of the gear and taking care of the sailors and the Marines that had to go back and had dental appointments and all kinds of stuff because we were getting ready for deployment. Well, when I took the sailor back, he decided he was going to take it upon himself to go UA. And he was gone for a couple of hours before we realized what was going on. And I showed up and I tried to find out where he was at, and I couldn't find him. And I had to report that information back to my commanding officer, and it was not a pretty day. First of all, I had to go through my battalion surgeon, who is a medical officer, and he was not happy. And he was like, "Chief, I don't care what you got to do. You got to get out there and you got to find the sailor. Because if you don't find the sailor, we're going to have to shut the camp down." And we're talking about thousands of Marines and sailors training on Camp Wilson out in Mojave Viper. That's not a pretty sight. And to be known as the battalion that had to do that, that's a bad day. So right away, I was let down. I was very disappointed in this sailor because this was one of my go-to guys, but he had been lying to me behind the scenes. Well, after a while, I got a call from the battalion commander, and he lit me up on the phone, basically questioning me and my authority and my capabilities as a chief to maintain my sailors and where they were at. And this was it wasn't pretty. So I had to find this guy no matter what it took, and I did. I was able to patch through. I got a hold of his parents, who finally got his wife to call me, and he was too chicken, for lack of a better term, to call me and talk to me. So I had to talk to his wife on the phone while he was in the car. And it just took everything I could do to keep from just choking him through the phone. And I finally tried to bring him back, and it didn't work. And so I had to report that back to the battalion commander directly on his phone that he had on while he was out in the field. And I went back out, and I got put on lockdown. And basically, I lost complete control of my corpsman and everything, and I had to report to the headquarters and service company first sergeant, which is something that it's really hard as a chief to do because the Marines that were there, they're not technically in charge of me. I report directly to the battalion commander. And so I got put in a box, and that was like getting slapped in the face. and it really wasn't my fault. So what I did was I did everything I could, and I found myself back in the field and going to see the battalion commander, the sergeant major, and the executive officer XO. And the CO and the XO and the sergeant major just lit me and my battalion surgeon up and my other officer up, and it was devastating. And that was the first, like, really moment as a chief where I'll be honest with you, I wanted to cry like a little baby because it was directly affecting me, and it hurt me. It hurt me because it was hurting the command, and it was hurting that sailor in the end because he didn't know what was going on. And we luckily were able to catch it before we had to shut the entire camp down to try and find this. A missing Marine or sailor in the desert is not a good day. And at the end of the day, it all kind of worked out. But the guy was UA. He was almost deserter status. He wound up coming back to the battalion right before we deployed to Afghanistan. And so he came back the day before, and I saw him literally as I was packing my gear up to go out early to Afghanistan, to get on the bus, to go to Cherry Point and fly. And it was just out of control. So I had to reach back to a lot of people to kind of get this guy taken care of. And it turns out he wound up having to go to Afghanistan, and they court-martialed him. And it took me a while to earn the trust of my Marines after that, especially the battalion commander and the XO. It took a month in the sand with them, showing them how awesome my sailors could be because I was the leader there. And so I felt really like I had let myself down because I couldn't pull up out of that. And it took about a month to recover. But biggest thing for me was I felt like I let my Marines down. I let my CO down because he trusted me. And to have to go through other people to be able to talk to him because he just didn't want to look at me. That was the hardest day of my life in the Navy. And I can share more later on, but it's clocking in around the 17 minutes. Thanks for watching. I know it's a bit long, but I just had to share with you living with disappointment. And the key takeaway that I have for that and how to get away and how to live through that is it doesn't matter where you're at and what the disappointment is. Time will heal wounds, and you can pull yourself out of it. It will take time. It may not be pretty, but you can. And you just have to lean on the people, your brothers and your sisters, and this community, and we can pull you along with us, alongside, and get you to a better place. Because this is where we need to be, and this is what we're going to do for you. We're going to do this for you. And this live session, this is for you. And I can see the comments, and I love you guys, and I thank you. And please feel free to comment even after this closes out. If you having feed issues, I'm going to take the live stream, and I'm going to put it hopefully on our YouTube account once we get it there, so you can see the raw emotion, and hopefully you can see it in a higher quality. So thanks, guys. Thanks for everything that you do. Love you, and have a good weekend. Time to peace out. See you guys on the next one.